Hi everyone, welcome to our first workshop. Those of you who participated last year may remember me. I'm Samine and I'm going to be your mentor. So for today's workshop, it's just going to be an introductory workshop and we're going to go over some basics for CanHack 2022. So let's get started. So today we're going to talk about what exactly CTFs are, their structure, why they're important. Then we're going to talk about CanHack. We're also going to talk about PICOCTF and how both of these fit into the bigger picture. We're going to talk about some technical stuff as well, like what a terminal shell is, how to approach some of the challenges, some tips and resources also in the end. So let's start off by talking about what CTFs are and their importance. So CTFs stand for Capture the Flag, and they're typically a type of computer security competition. So contestants are presented with a set of challenges which test their creativity, their technical and Googling skills, and also their problem-solving abilities. The goal is to capture the flag, which earns the competitor points. Usually competitors with the highest score at the end win the competition. There are many benefits to participating in a CTF competition. So the biggest one is it's a great learning opportunity. You're going to learn a lot and acquire a lot of new skills and knowledge. And also it's a great way to practice your skills and gain new ones. Also, playing some of the challenges from the different categories is also a great way to visualize potential career paths and interests that you may want to pursue after high school. So now that we have some understanding of what CTF challenges are, let's talk a little bit about CanHack and PICOCTF. So what is CanHack? So the DMZ at Ryerson University, in partnership with the Royal Bank of Canada, have come together to launch CanHack, a cybersecurity student competition. So CanHack is the Canadian category of PICOCTF. PICOCTF is a free online cybersecurity competition developed and run by Carnegie Mellon University. CanHack's mission is to engage and educate diverse Canadian high school students in the field of cybersecurity through a fun and free web-based competition. Those of you who participated in CanHack 2021 might be familiar with exactly how CanHack and PICOCTF come together. So let's talk about PICOCTF. So as mentioned, PICOCTF is the platform that the CTF takes place on. It's the platform that we're going to be using to play the challenge on. And let me just take a few minutes and just show you the PICOCTF website right now. So this is the PICOCTF website on the main homepage. You're going to have to log in to be able to access some of the practice problems. So once you log in, you're going to see a gym. And what the gym is it's the previous problems from the previous competitions. And if you haven't already done so, I'd highly encourage you to log in, create an account, and start practicing on this website. So this is what their website looks like, and we're going to delve into some of the other sections in just a moment. So basically, PICOCTF is, the platform that the CTF takes place on. It's an offensively oriented high school computer security competition that seeks to generate interest in computer science amongst high school students, teaching them enough about computer security to pique their curiosity, motivating them to explore on their own, and enabling them to better defend their machines. So there are 5 categories in the PICOCTF competition, which are really great if you are considering a career in cybersecurity, if you want to study it in university, whatever it may be. It's a great way to get exposure to these. So the categories are web exploitation, cryptography, reverse engineering, forensics, binary exploitation. There's also a 6th category, which is general skills, which is really great for you to build your skills and really get a feel of what cybersecurity might look like in the future for your career path. Now that we have the PICOCTF and the CanHack 2022 explanation out of the way, let's discuss the shell. So with cybersecurity hacking challenges, usually you will have to work with a terminal or a shell. It's called either that, like a terminal, a shell. There's many different words for it. It can be interchanged. So let's talk about exactly what is a shell and what you can do with it. The shell is a more powerful than usual way of interacting with the device. So using a shell, you can tell your device what to do using commands. The traditional way that the computer usually interacts, or that you usually interact with the computer, is the graphical user interface, the GUI, pronounced GUI. The more powerful way to interact with your computer is the CLI, which stands for Command Line Interface, and this is the shell where you can input your commands. So to make things more clearer, let's take a look at this table right here to kind of understand what happens in a GUI and what happens in the shell. So this table kind of looks at some of the actions that you might take using a traditional way and how you would approach those on the shell. So usually when you're normally interacting with the computer, if you double click or you click on an icon of the app opens up. Whereas if you wanted to open up an app in the shell, all you would have to do is press the name of the app and press enter. An example of an application that we sometimes use in cybersecurity is called Metasploit. So if I wanted to open up Metasploit, what I would do is just type in Metasploit in the shell, hit enter, and the app would open up. Another example is if I want to open up a file, I would open up the folders or open up the file within Microsoft Word maybe. But in the shell, you can use the cat app to print the file and just read it. So the command for that you would tell the shell would be cat and then your file.txt or whatever, and that would display all of the text in the file. So this is a great way to look at how you would interact with the GUI versus how you would interact with the shell. I'm now going to show you an exercise that you can do on the PICOCTF website to practice your some of the commands that we're going to learn. So let's take a look. So after logging in, you have access to this page where you can practice previous problems as I showed you. And there's also an area with resources. So let's go into the resources and let's go into the Pico primer. So this primer again is a really great resource to get some knowledge before you dive into some of these problems. It's kind of like prerequisite information that is really good to know. So on your free time, whenever you get the chance, it's a really good idea to take a look at this primer. Anyways, as you scroll down, here's an exercise right here that you can do on the website to practice some of the commands using the PICOCTF web shell that is given to you and you have access to throughout the competition. So now I'm going to go over some common commands with you right now. So let's take a look at one of the most common commands when using shell. So if you want to change directories, you would use the command cd. cd means change directory. So for example, if you wanted to go back home, the command would be cd and then the symbol. And if you want to change the current directory to parent directory, it would be cd ... And if you know the path of where you want to go, you could also type cd and the path. So another very useful command to remember is ls. So ls lists files and directories. So in a GUI, you would go into a folder, which is your directory, and then you would double click and it would show you all of the files and the different directories in there. But if you want to do that in the shell, you would type out ls. ls-l is a command to view a more detailed view, including file or directory, owner of the file, size, etc. And to view hidden files, the command would be ls-a. Now, there might be a challenge a lot of times in some of these CTF challenges. One of them is, finding a hidden file. So this command might come in handy if there's a challenge like that. I'm now going to show you where you can find the web shell on PICOCTF. So right here, I'm on the main PICOCTF page after logging in. Now to the top right, you're going to see web shell. So once I click on that, I'll have access to the shell. I'm just going to full size it just for convenience. So you're going to have to log in once you get to this section and type in your password. So when you're typing in your password in the shell, it's not going to really show. And I think I didn't type the right password, but it's not going to show you. So you're going to have to just type it properly. So let's try logging in again. Hopefully it works this time. And there we go. We're now in the shell. So now let's practice some of the commands that we just learned. So the first one was cd. But before we do cd, let's take a look at what files and directories we have. So if I hit ls, it's going to show me. So the blue is the folders, and these ones that are not in blue are the files. So we're looking, so we have a couple of text files, we have this strings file, and we have a test directory. So let's go into the test directory by using cd. So let's do cd test. So now it shows us we are in the test directory. Now let's take a look at what's in the test directory. So nothing really is in the test directory. Now if I want to go back to the parent directory, it was cd ... right? And you can always check what directory you're in by typing pwd, which stands for print working directory. So let's see. So it's telling me I'm in the home. And if we come out of home, let's say if we go into test again, and we want to go back home, all we have to do is the cd and then this symbol right here. If I could just find it on my keyboard, enter. And now if we do pwd, it's going to tell us we're in the home directory. So there we go. So let's try the ls. So here when we do ls, we have all of these files, right? Let's try ls-l to see the long view and all the details. Wow. So now it's telling us who owns the file, the group. It's telling us the date, the name of the file. Let's try ls-a to see the hidden files. Oh wow, so there's a lot of hidden files right here. And how do you know if a file is hidden? It will be indicated with a dot before the file. So this is a hidden folder, this is a hidden file. This is also a hidden file that I created, invisible.txt. So you get the picture. So now let's go back and take a look at some other commands and continue practicing. Let's take a look at the cat command. Cat means to concatenate, which allows you to view the contents of the file. And this command can also be used to create files. It's very useful for viewing text files, as we saw in our shell that we had a lot of text files, so we could use the cat command to view them. So if you want to view a file, you would type cat, the file name, to view the contents of that particular file. Let's move on to grep. Grep is a very useful command. It searches a file for characters and words that you are looking for. So for example, if you were looking for the flag in a particular file, you could type grep, the flag in quotes, and the file that you're looking for. So it would look for all instances of the word flag in the file.txt. So when combined with other commands, grep, for example, can be a very powerful tool. But aside from that, you can combine 2 or more commands to, get an output that you're looking for. And this is called piping. Piping is taking the output of one command and using that as an input for the second command. For example, if you want to list all of the particular files in a directory, you could do ls, but if you want to look for a particular file in that directory and just list that, you would do ls and pipe it through grep with the file name. So this, when used properly, can be very powerful and help you to, combine more than one command. So let's take a look at the shell and practice some of these commands. But before we do that, let's talk about what to do when you are stuck. If you are stuck and you're not sure how to proceed with the command or what options there are for a particular command, you can use 2 commands to help you. So for example, if you're not sure exactly how to use the ls command, you could type man LS man stands for manual, and it's going to display the user manual for any command. So you could do man cd, man ls, man grep, and that would give you the manual for that command. You can also use --help to get more information on how to use a command. So for example, you could do ls --help, cd --help, grep --help, and that would, give you a good instruction manual on how to use the command, and we're going to take a look at that in just a second. So I'm going to go back into my shell right here, and let's practice some of the commands that we just learned. So let me list out what we have in our folder here. So we have these files. So let's try to read lyrics.txt. So to read this file, we're going to use the cat command. So we're going to do cat lyrics.txt. And so this prints out the file. So I'm seeing a lot of words, but let's say in this file, I'm looking for Tommy. So what we could do is we could do grep Tommy in quotes. If I'm looking for something in particular, I would put that in quotes, Tommy, and then the file that I'm looking in, so lyrics.txt. So now it's going to give me all of the lines with Tommy, and it's highlighted the word Tommy where it found it. So this is really great. It's really helpful. Let's now look at the piping command example. So let's say we have all of these files right here. Let's actually do ls-a. Let's say that I want to look in all the hidden files, but I only care about SSH. So let's see, I want to list out all of the files and all the directories, but only the ones that have SSH in them. So this one, it's going to give me just that. So we could pipe it like that. So that's just some of the examples. Let's take a look at how to use the manual and help command. So let's say I want the manual for ls. The manual for ls. And there you go. It's telling me everything. So for example, if you look at this -a option, as we discussed, it says do not ignore entries starting with period, which basically means like show the hidden files, right? So this is really helpful. And we could also do ls-help. And this would also help us on how to use the command. So here we have a more summarized view of how to use this command. So we have, again, do not ignore entries starting with the period. So this is really helpful. So now that we've kind of used some of these commands, let's try some practice problems. So let's take a look at this problem, Magikarp Ground Mission. Magikarp is, from what I remember, a Pokemon. Anyways, so as you can see, each challenge has a certain number of points associated with it. I guess it depends on the level of difficulty of each challenge as to how many points are associated with that. So let's start off with doing this challenge, because this challenge, it combines a lot of the commands that we use today. So I think this is a great place to start. So it says, do you know how to move between directories and read files in the shell? Yes, we just learned about that. It says start the container, SSH into it, and then ls once connected to begin. Log in via SSH as CTF player with the password. Right. So SSH is going to allow us to remotely log in to a shell. So let's launch the instance. And once the instance has launched, it says, so now it says the instance is running. So let's go into our shell and let's copy this command. This is the SSH command. So let's copy that and hit enter. It says, are you sure you want to continue connecting? Yes. And it's asking for the player's password, and we know that this is the password. So let's log into that, hit enter. I guess we didn't give the right password. Let's try typing out the password. Oh, I didn't put the correct password. So 481. E7B 1-4 and hit enter. So now we are the CTF player. So now what does it say? It's telling us now that do you know how to move between directories and read files, start the container, and then ls once connected to begin. So I guess we have to take a look at some of the files that are in here. So let's ls and see what we have. So we have 1of3.flag.text and instructions to 2of3 text. So let's print out what 1of3.flag.text is. So what this tells us is that I guess we have 3 parts to the flag. So I guess printing out the contents of the first part, we have the first part of our flag. So let's copy and paste that into here. The second part is to instructions to 2of3.text. So let's print the instructions to 2of3.text. You can also copy and paste. You don't have to type it out. Next, go to the root of all things more succinctly, this. So remember to go to different places. We have to cd into it. So let's cd into that directory. And we are here. Let's list. Okay. So here we have a bunch of different files. Let's see. We have the 2of3.flag and we have instructions to 3of3. So let's do cat 2of3.flag.text. So this is the second part of our flag. So let's paste that into here. Now let's look at the instructions for the third part of the flag. 3of3.text. Go home. More succinctly, this. So remember when we want to go back home, we would do cd and then use that symbol. So let's go back home and let's see what's in here. And it says 3of3.flag.text. So let's print the 3of3. Let's see what's in here. And this is the end part of the flag. I've already solved this challenge. But you should submit the flag, and there you go. That's it. So some of these skills that we learned are in a lot of the general skills section. I encourage everyone to practice these. A lot of these problems are from last year, and we did a lot of demonstrations in last year's workshop recording, which I'll show you how to access in just a second. So now let's go back to our presentation and let's share some tips for success. So one of the biggest tips is to practice. So we have this resource, which is the Pico Gym, which is giving us access to all the past problems. So it's best to make the best use of it and practice all the previous problems. The more you practice, the better you're going to get at it. And the more you're going to, improve your capabilities and your skills to Google things, to find the solution, and exactly how to approach the problem. So I really encourage everyone to practice using the Pico Gym. The second one is to not give up. Sometimes you might feel, stuck, but don't be afraid to Google. You're allowed to Google, you're allowed to research. So definitely that is encouraged, because the more you Google, the closer you're going to get to the solution. The third tip is to familiarize yourself with using the shell. So practicing, familiarize yourself with some common cybersecurity lingo, some of the tools that are used, and that's going to put you in a good space when you're going to start the competition. If you feel stuck, move on to another challenge or ask the mentors for assistance. Don't keep doing it. Sometimes moving on to the next challenge, sparks an idea. So don't feel stuck at any time. You can ask the mentors for assistance, and always don't be afraid to ask, don't be afraid to Google, and just practice as much as you can. So some of the resources that we have are the resource hub at the dmz.ryerson.ca. This is the CanHack resource hub, which has all of the recordings from last year, and the recordings are really detailed, so they're a great resource to review and really get that additional prerequisite knowledge that would really help and benefit from completing the challenge successfully. The second is the PICO primer, which I mentioned earlier. Definitely take a read through that. And our workshop video 1, which is available at this link. All of these links are linked in the description below, so please do visit them. I'm just going to take a second now to show you what the resource hub looks like. So here we have the DMZ CanHack resource hub. This will give you a little bit more information about CanHack if you're interested in reading more, if you're interested in reading about the steps, how to register, how the competition works, the prizes, all the details are here. But what I want to highlight is the resource hub right here. So underneath the resource hub, you're going to find all the different categories that there are for the competition. And within each category is the slides from last year and the workshop recordings from last year, and additional resources that are helpful. I highly encourage you to watch all of these videos. So there's always 2 parts to each category. There's the first part, which is the intro, and then the more advanced part. This is a really great resource to really get that prerequisite knowledge. So again, I encourage everyone to visit this resource hub and make the best use of it. Now, going back to our presentation, that is it for today's workshop. I hope that everyone is going to take this opportunity to practice some of the problems to sign up for PICOCTF and use their gym. I want to thank everyone for their time for watching this workshop, and can't wait to see you in the next workshop.